Welcome everybody to our show. This is Custom Fab Garage on our channel Octane TV on YouTube. Make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button, and on top of that, make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you can get all the new content that comes out weekly and even every day.
Big old 3.5 liter V6 stuffed into that very small area. That's crazy. You could definitely not do a motor swap in this. And then randomly with this very tiny little radiator right here, and then randomly there's the battery right in between the two tubular shocks. So yeah, that's kind of freaking crazy. So on this Prowler, we have turned on the speakers. It has two tiny little 4-inch speakers right here, and they sound like two mice feeding on cheese. There's a factory subwoofer here, so we're gonna start with replacing these two speakers in the back. It does have door panel speakers right here, right down here at the bottom, and it also has dash speakers up there. These speakers all sound like metal, like aluminum foil just crackling. They're all that bad. The sub is the only thing I think that's salvageable. And they do not make a dash kit, unfortunately, for this radio. It all had to be custom, so I think we're just going to stick with the stock radio and just do all new speakers. We're gonna have to do some research because it looks like an amp is back here. Don't know if that's true or not. Could be just a sub amp for there. But right down underneath the seat, there is another amp down here. So that amp could be for the highs, and this amp could be for the subs. I'm not sure, but there's also a factory CD changer here, which shows how prehistoric this car is. In 20 years time, a lot has changed in cars and technology with audio. If dated was a word, this steering wheel would be the #1 thing to talk about with dated. Like, look at this Panther, Cougar, Prowler. But this thing, everything about this is just like, look at the door panels. It's like neon-esque, PT Cruiser-esque, Dodge Durango, and then Dodge Dakota. This radio reminds me of Dodge Dakota. Same way with the shifter. Look at the shifter. I mean,
that's neon.
Yeah, like neon. Yeah, PT Cruiser slash Chrysler 300 slash Sebring. I mean, it just it's like they took all the parts off of all the cars and then just made this car. It's crazy. Like, I love this. I love the orange right here. That is really cool. But for a car that costs this much money, they should have done a lot more for this poor car. Like, I feel bad because this car is so awesome looking on the outside, but on the interior and the engine, why did you not go bigger? Or at least put a turbo 4-cylinder in it, for God's sakes. All right, we're gonna remove these Prowler door panels. From what I can see, there is a Phillips down right there. There's also a Phillips right here. And there's also a Phillips right there. There's a Phillips. So we're gonna start with taking those three off. I imagine this is gonna have to come off and probably this is gonna have to come off, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me take the Phillips off and see what we get into. Okay, so there's no screw behind here, but I actually could just pull this piece right here off with my fingers, and boom, that comes right off. So that's all that holds it on. It looks like there's a screw here and a screw here that holds this thing on, but that's gonna stay part of that, and the door panel will come off above it. But this will definitely have to come off beforehand. If not, it will just go flying off when you pull the door panel off. Now we're gonna remove this screw right here, and this screw up here. These are the two longer screws that came out of the front, one there and one there. That's what they look like, and they're extremely long. And this is the screw that comes out of here. It's a little smaller screw that comes out of this pocket right here. Here's the back of the door panel. You've got push pins 1, 2, 3. That one's missing. We're gonna have to put it back in. You will need to unplug this harness. And right up in here, we'll show you, it is much easier if you just pop this piece out. It's just underneath there. We just pushed on this top piece right here. If you just get your hand in there, push up, and then push this down and pull out, and then unplug right here, this harness, it's much easier to get the door panel out. And we're gonna have to pull the, see, like this push pin was still left in here, but it's much easier. You will need to unplug this top plug right here. It's on this side right here. And that's that top plug right here. Basically, you just pull out on this guy, and that will pull that out. That's it. These are very fragile old door panels, so be careful. These speakers might take the cake on the worst speakers I've ever seen in my life. I mean, where's my surround? These are those new Bluetooth speakers. They don't need no surround. You ever see anything like that in Anderson Buick?
Look, they're Infinity.
So this does have factory Infinity in it, man. It was Infinity. Infinity, the foam doesn't last.
It's that new Bluetooth, man.
Yeah, look at it, tap, tap, tap-a-roni. Like tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Wonder what that sounds like when it's rat-tattling down the road. Get my beatbox, baby. All right, so we got this speaker in. We went ahead and screwed 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We could put more there, but it's just pointless when this thing just sits here and you can just bend this. Down here, there's just not enough room to get a screw in here correctly, but it does not bolt up to the factory screws because this thing uses weird screw patterns. Same with the harness. I'll show you on the other speaker how we did the harness. This did have Infinity in it. We kind of showed you what the old speakers look like. Everything came out was trash, but this is how much room you have back here. As you can see, there's not a tremendous amount of room. I can probably fit like a finger, probably about 1 inch in between there. The harness is down on the bottom, but there's just not room, a whole lot of room for improvement with these. I mean, a good coaxial is gonna work. You could probably dynamite the door because all this matting went bad, and that would probably help, but it's really not going to do a whole lot when you have a factory radio. I mean, if we were doing an aftermarket radio and trying to amplify this, I would definitely recommend dynamiting the whole thing and then sealing this part right here off. But for what he's trying to do, he's just trying to replace these speakers that were destroyed and do something better. But I would recommend, if you're doing something nice and you want to make something like super powerful, I'd dynamite over this, dynamite over all the metal, and get this all back sealed off. Another thing that's a pain in the ass is this is as much as you can open the door. That's it. That's as far as you can get it open. And that is the magnificent passenger side. Boy, we're putting these on the Hall of Shame, buddy. These are, look at that. Look at that gap. Anderson gap. Back of the speaker, that's how far it comes out. They are Infinity speakers, but they're also deteriorated and destroyed. Here's this speaker here, mounts back here. What we did was we just took the harness, which I don't have here. We never really cut harnesses, but on this particular vehicle, since it's Infinity, we just cut the plug off and just wired positive and negative. Basically, we use the part that has the clip on it as the positive on both sides, so they're in polarity, and then basically connected with our terminals to the back of the speaker. Very easy. If you've never done that before, I would advise taking it to a professional. If you can't even simply do that, I honestly advise going to a professional and not trying to do that yourself.
Bye.